This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins.
I'm Jeremy J. I run a small software development consultant company called Stridatum. We do kind of big and small data projects along with iPhone apps and everything in between. And so one of the things that I've kind of run across as I'm doing all these projects for other people is I'm really bad at time tracking. And so what I did, I'm a software developer, so I made some software that would do it for me. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today is this Moonlighter app. In short, it's Dropbox meets your time tracker. All you have to do is edit the files on your computer. It knows that you're editing them, just like Dropbox. And then it syncs it all up to our server, does some analytics on it, and it basically tells you these are the hours that you worked on this project. So to take a step back a little bit, I kind of got into all this consulting stuff while I was working on during grad school, I was working on my PhD in computer science. So that's kind of where I got a lot of experience doing sort of research-oriented things, the analytics, and at the same time, being a grad student doesn't pay too well. So I kind of had to learn, both that time tracking is really important and that I'm really bad at it. So that's kind of where I come. Like I have this unique experience of both doing all the consulting stuff on the side while I was in grad school working on the research angle. So one thing that's kind of nice about Moonlighter, right now this is a product that I've kind of got, it's under wraps, it's like a kind of an alpha quality thing. I'm testing it with a few friends and some close colleagues. I've had good feedback so far, and that's actually why I'm here, is to get a little bit more feedback on like the product itself and say positioning it for the market. So one thing that having an automated reporting software does for you is it frees you up to actually be productive and get more billable hours. So this increases your time on task, and then it also makes it easier for you to increasing accountability on your project. So you get like say a daily or weekly email that says, hey, you've only worked 6 hours on project X, you're gonna miss your deadline if you keep this up. And you don't have to track your hours, you don't have to put in anything. So it just automatically says, hey, wake up, get to work. And so this also helps with increasing your communication with the client. If you are busting your butt and working on stuff real hard, and you get an email that says there's no way you're going to hit your deadline, you can talk to the client right then and let them know, so you can quickly communicate with the client that those due dates are going to get missed. So it also, in the end, you can increase your bid accuracy on this too. So basically, because this is fully automated, we can sync it into lots of other project tracking tools, your Dropbox edits, your GitHub issues, and source code repositories. And you can we can do some more analytics down the road that say that, hey, you're bidding on this project that has these 3 features. Oh, we can also look at all the other projects that you've done in the past that have those same features, and we can help you develop a better estimate of your hours on this. So there's a pretty big opportunity in this, obviously. Marc Andreessen had this famous quote here, software is eating the world. Pretty much everybody in this room, I assume, has a smartphone. You work on your computer all the time. Everything you do is digital now. All the way down to your light bulbs and thermostats, it's all digital. It's all run by software. It develops activity streams that can be tracked using an app like Moonlighter. And then at the same time, these are all being built by software developers just like me. So there's a huge market focusing just solely on freelance software developers, or even just temporary workers in general, digital creatives, graphic designers, that kind of vein. Freelancers and contractors are expected to hit 40% of the labor market within the next decade. And as you can see by the numbers at the bottom, GitHub itself has almost 8 million users. These are just software developers that have public accounts on a external site. So basically, by targeting these people who are already digitally creative, they're highly involved, they're already comfortable syncing their files to the cloud through Dropbox or GitHub or other systems, we can basically get a foothold in this market and make it easier for people to track their time and be more accountable. So obviously this extends, I mainly focus on the software developers because that's what I am, but this extends out to graphic designers or even people in the business space. I don't know what you guys do, so, but I'm sure you edit files, and this is something that will work for that. So, hooking into all sorts of external services like Box or Dropbox gives us plenty of opportunities. Is that my time up? Good, because I'm done. Thank you.
First of all, I actually really like this. I think this is a really great idea because, I mean, in time tracking, it's always a struggle, right? Because you're saying, hey, are you tracking that project? Can this kick out anything as far as an automated report to the client that says, here's where we're at with your project, here's how much has been worked on?
Yeah, that's totally doable.
Yeah. I think it's awesome. What's the business model? What's the revenue model?
So initially it'd be about, I'm going to do like a paid trial basically. So you get say 30 to 90 days of kind of testing out the service. Since it's built on analytics, we need some data to be able to know whether or not we can provide value to that customer before we start charging them for real. But then, yeah, I'm targeting freelance software developers. I think there's plenty of them that make over $100 an hour. So we can easily target $100 a month for those people. Because if I save you an hour of work, it's pretty no-brainer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the actual companies that they work for are a big target as well.
Yep.
Because they're looking at productivity gains within their developer group.
Yeah.
So
not just freelancers, but the small business agencies and that type of thing. Yep.
Do you know, and actually are they in the audience, Jeremy or Todd Olson from Tapity?
Nope.
You might want to connect with those guys. They're local, and
Yep.
he's had some huge apps that have gone really big.
Yeah, I know Devin's told me about them before.
Yeah. But one of the challenges, and I think it's a great idea too. It's like,
Yep.
it's gonna happen, right?
Yep.
Someone's gonna do it, and the question is who's gonna be the winner. But the problem with a one-off mobile app is when you get into the revenue model, it's just really tough. I mean, if you're going to charge, $1 or $2 or $3 or $4 for the app, it's just tough when you even if you get featured in the Apple's the App Store.
Yep.
When you run the numbers on it, it's tough to make a business out of it.
Yeah, I fully agree.
And
This is
this is
software
remote,
that runs on your computer.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so it's not mobile? Well, why
No.
wouldn't it be?
You're working
There's
on a file.
there's possibility for a mobile app too, but that would be something like tracking your calls. If you're calling with the client, we could track that within the system. But this is it's like Dropbox. It syncs your files on your computer.
Yeah, no, I got that. Okay. I would just think that it'd be natural to do, think mobile first, and do all that mobile. But maybe, I'm not a developer, so.
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
more-
what sort of stuff do you do on your computer? That's really what I'm targeting is the people who are doing the real billable work is going to be mainly done on a laptop or a computer.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a point of view that mobile first. Everything is going mobile. 50% of Google said it at the PubCon conference in Las Vegas that 50% of searches were now mobile.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I think it's a great idea. I think
Great,
you're onto
thanks.
something. I think you just got to think through the revenue model to make it a company.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. Great idea. Do you have a sense for who your competition is?
I mean, it's kind of crowded in the sense that there are a lot of time trackers out there, but they mostly focus on UI improvements, like making it really pretty to hit that start and stop button. And I just want to do my work. I don't want to hit a pretty button. I just want it to happen. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's one way that this is sort of unique is that we're doing the analytics on top of all the other stuff. There is an app called Rescue Time that's out there. It sort of does a similar thing where they track the apps that you have open on your computer that you're active in, but it's more oriented toward accountability type stuff, showing you that you're not working that much, you spend too much time on the internet. But they don't really have a sort of time tracking project-based model into that.
The other question was, do you have a target for a pilot? I mean, it seems like this may be something that you could pilot with one or two customers and get some initial market feedback, like how would it work? Do you have? I mean, that kind of takes the next step into being real.
Yeah. So I've got basically I'm collecting email signups on the website now. So I've got a few quite a few people who have added in already there, and then I've got sort of my network of other freelancers. So I'm going to kind of start with them and get some feedback and make sure that things are really smooth before sort of making a public launch.
Yeah, because I mean, I would just say before you have a public launch, you could do a pilot, you know,
Yeah.
just a beta
Yeah, and
test
that's-
essentially.
That's the intention now. Yeah, thank you.
We're over here working
I
at
know,
revenue
we're
model.
having a whole conversation while I'm talking.
I'm sorry.
Is that it?
Okay, do we want to throw anybody in the crowd got a question?
Hey, so I'm a multitasker, aka ADHD.
Yep.
So
Me
I
too.
open up a file, my phone rings, I get an email. Is it still gonna bill that time, or is it only when you're active on the screen?
So it'll kind of aggregate things. So if you haven't saved anything in the file, it's not going to do anything. But you know, if you kind of have to have like 7 to 10 minutes worth of activity for it to really count, and it'll kind of round up to the nearest quarter hour right now. But it'll all be configurable. Yep.
It's an interesting thing to put in there because
Yep.
you've got like GoToMeeting can tell whether you're paying attention or not.
Yep.
It would be a nice feature to build in there is to show are you actively doing something, or have you opened up the
Yeah.
the app and then you went and made breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, I'm working on it a ton.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've basically been running it for the last few months on my
Yeah.
computer, so I easily see these things when I get distracted by the kids and go downstairs and wait. Oh, it was still running.
Is it actually available today, even just in beta? or not?
I've given it to a few friends basically to help me work out all the bugs and kinks, and
Cool.
there'll be a little alpha release later, but it is live.
Do you think there would be any interest in tracking trends in performance and presenting it to the user, like to say you're most productive at the beginning of the week or in the middle of the day?
Yep, that's one thing that's great about it is I'm collecting data throughout the day, every single minute. So it'd be very easy to add these value adds on top. It's, you know, you should work on this project now instead of later if you want to meet your deadline.
That's great.
Anybody else?
That's good.